Hey everyone, welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel where you get daily and consistent hot topics in music, entertainment, reality TV, and more. As always, before we even begin, like this video and subscribe to the channel because as I said before, you are getting consistent and daily hot topics here. We already posted a couple of short videos because we know we give you hot topics in 15 seconds, hot topics in under a minute, reality TV recaps in under a minute. Well, this live won't be in under a minute. It will be a full-fledged live talking about Bravo's Family Karma and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We have a lot to talk about, but before we do that, let me just see your crowns in the comment section. Let me see the crowns, y'all. Welcome to my team Kempire. Shout out to my mods. Shout out to everyone that's in the chat. I appreciate everyone being here, being on time. Shout out to my texting community. If you're not part of the texting community, let me put the number up so you can join the texting community. They get exclusives. So when Meghan McCain was, I was going to say fired, when she decided to quit The View, they knew before anyone else. So if you want exclusives, if you want to be reminded exclusively by your boy, TheKempire here, then, you know, join the texting community. Let me just take a sip, y'all. Shout out to my mod. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hold on. Let me just show. And everyone with your curse words, you might want to get a little creative because the filters on YouTube will block them. I'm not blocking your comments. It's the filters on YouTube. So get creative with your curse words. Speaking of, I just had to unhide a few different people. Shout out to all the mods that are already in the building. I appreciate you guys being here. So we are recapping Family Karma and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We'll get into Beverly Hills in just a second. A reminder, we are live not just on the Kempire Daily YouTube channel. We're also live on Facebook, The Kempire and Kempire Daily on Facebook, The Kempire on Twitter, and The Kempire on Twitch. We're also live on TikTok, but TikTok, head on over to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel. That way I'll be able to see your comments. I love seeing the crowns, though. Yes, keep showing me those crowns, y'all. I love it. Miriam says, your name is not Kempire Daily. It's more like Kempire New York Minute. All right, all right. Anyways, let's get into this recap. As you know, I don't like to waste your time because we have another live that I will be doing later on. Set your reminders on, just in case we go a little bit earlier or a little bit later. You never know. I still have some homework to do in regards to that story that we're going to cover. But let's get into Family Karma. Family Karma, if you haven't known, we've been recapping it for the last few weeks. It's one of my favorite new shows on Bravo. This is their second season. And every week I say, we need more Bali. We need more Bali. We get a little bit more Bali this episode. Not enough, but we get more. I just like Bali's attitude. I like her sass. I like her energy. She's just so like, she really should probably be on like the Real Housewives, but I like her on this show because I love the show and I love the authenticity of the friendships and the family. Mind you, none of these people are blood. These people are just connected by culture and years of friendship. I love it. I love it. But let me get into some of the things that happen in Family Karma, and then we will jump into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Once we get to 100 likes, I will post the call-in link for you guys to call in and share your thoughts on Family Karma and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. There's a lot to cover, so I'm not going to waste any time. I didn't realize that. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them are really close, but Anisha and Brian talk about getting closer. I love Anisha. I love Anisha's family, from her grandfather to her mother. I love Anisha. I hope Anisha and Anish, you know, the guy that she met on, was it Bumble? One of those apps. And they've been doing like virtual dating. I like him for her. Like, I need to know if they're currently dating. I like his energy. His energy matches her silly, goofy side. And I love that for her. I need that to work out, or at least for them to try. Speaking of trying, Brian and Anisha introduced us to a whole egg situation. You know, I like that kind of kooky stuff. I almost got an egg earlier to do it, where you're like moving the egg on the right side of your body. Her mother comes down, it's like, no, you're not doing it right. And then they throw the egg at a 4-way stop, you know, on a highway. I'm gonna have to figure that part out because I'm like, can I find a 4-way stop near me? I don't know. I don't know. But I love it. Bali goes shopping with Amrit. And this episode is all about Amrit. Amrit, as you know, he wants to get engaged to his boyfriend of like 6 years or something like that. And he has to tell his nanny, his grandmother. And I originally thought that his mother was going to tell her, but no, in this episode, we find out he tells her. And that was such an emotional scene. We'll get there. I was crying at the end of the episode. I didn't expect to cry. But I was crying. But before we get there, so Bali goes shopping with Amrit. Bali is always Bali. Love her. Love her energy. Amrit is telling her that he's going to propose to Nicholas, but he has to, he has to say this to his nanny, aka his grandmother, not his nanny, like not Nanny. But Bali says, the biggest issue in their community would be her, because she's been married 2 times before. She's now unmarried. She's been dating O'Malley for like 6 years. She has clear issues in regards to commitment after, being married twice before. Bali has such an interesting story. Like, I don't mind if Bali's on this show, but can we also move her over to like the Real Housewives of Miami? Because I just like her energy, and we need more Bali. We need more Bali. And like I said, in this episode, we get a little bit more of Bali. And the other thing that I love about Family Karma is that we're introduced, even though I've heard of these holidays before because I have Indian friends, Diwali. They're celebrating Diwali. It's their New Year, the Festival of Lights. Speaking of Anisha, remember I told you I love Anisha's grandfather because he doesn't care about a fourth wall. He's like, whatever. But I do love that when we have a scene with him this episode, and Anisha's mother talks about an email that the grandfather sent in regards to a chicken sandwich request, an email. I love every family on Family Karma to me has something special about them that's funny, that it has layers of emotion. I love it. That's just me. But we've been talking about Monica's dad, Raj. We get a little bit more of Raj this episode. Last week, we got a little bit of Monica's mom, and we had no idea that Monica's mom and Monica's dad, they can't even be in the same room. But we get to see Raj more because divorce in their community, like many communities, cultural communities, is frowned upon. And they are divorced couples. So Raj says, for a time, he did not hang out with a lot of the other women or families because, it was frowned upon. But slowly but surely, he's been coming out. Look, I know we've all have been thinking about this. We've all have been saying it. I don't know. There are men that are just effeminate, but why did they get divorced? Do we know? Do we know why they got divorced? Okay, let me take a sip. But I like that we got to see a little bit more of Raj this episode, and he actually attends the Auntie's happy hour. You remember how the last happy hour went? But this happy hour, because Lopa wasn't there. I guess Lopa wasn't invited, or maybe she wasn't in town. It was better, though, because there was no friction between Rishma and anyone. But they do ask Amrit's mom about any sort of engagement. She denies it. Amrit's mom has really been keeping that on the low, even though we all know that Amrit's about to get engaged. But they also asked Raj what his type of woman is and which one of the women here he would date, if or their personality. I mean, some of you guys in the comments, I can't. I don't know. I mean, that was the first thing I thought when I was first introduced to him. I was like, and remember when I came here and I said to you guys, I said, is Raj? If he is, that is his story to tell. But I actually do like him. I like his personality. I like his relationship with Monica. I like that we got to see him this episode hanging out with the family. And as he said, the families have known each other for so long. They've known each other for so long. Speaking of engagement, before we get to Amrit, speaking of engagement, Vishal and Risha are still hemming and hawing about their relationship. They obviously get along very well, but they're not doing anything, which leads to the conversation with Vishal and Brian, because Brian is talking about getting married in like 2 years or engaged in 2 years. And Vishal's like, well, giving him advice in that area. And then I'm just thinking to myself, Vishal, obviously Vishal wants some sort of normality. He says that in this episode. He would like to get married. But Risha's the one that is sort of on the fence. Not sort of, she is on the fence. And that probably is because of everything Lopa Auntie has been saying and putting in her head. But at this point, girl, how many years in? Just break up with him. Just break up with him. If you're not looking to get married, you already gave him the look. It would have been over for me. You gave me back the engagement ring. We're done. We're done. It's sort of like Natalie from 90 Day Fiance when she threw the engagement ring. Why is she now here in the country? That should have been it. You throw the engagement ring at me. We are done. We are done. That's almost like spitting in my face. The disrespect. Either way, we didn't get a lot of Vishal this episode, which I was okay with because I cannot deal with them in this long-term relationship that's not going anywhere right now. Do I wish they could get married? Of course. I actually think they complement each other. He's goofy. She's a little bit more straight-edged. I think they work. And apparently they do too on some level, but I don't know. I think they're letting the family situation, Lopa's getting in the way. Lopa's getting in the way. But speaking of Brian's Dr. Monica comes to visit. I like how Monica just easily transitions into this family. Monica also comes from a family of doctors. So Brian feels inferior to the whole situation because he's not a doctor, even though he works in like the tech world, which we all know. Look, we all know in the tech world, he could be a little Mark Zuckerberg and making more money than a doctor. But, cultures, just think, no, you should be a doctor. I don't know. I like Brian. I like Brian's energy. I like what Brian brings to the show. Brian was my first crush on the show. And then I've just been falling in love with all the other ones in different ways. I'm just a crush slut. I said it. I'm a crush slut. I have a crush every other day. Okay. Okay, let's talk about Amrit. If you're just joining us, we have over 100 something people in the chat. Like this video if you haven't liked it already. Once we have 100 likes, I'll be dropping the link for you to call in and share your thoughts on Family Karma and The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We're doing a mashup of both shows. Let me take a sip. Okay. And we will be going live a little bit later on. Turn your reminders on. Turn your notifications on. We have some more Real Housewives of Atlanta conversations to have. I know. So Amrit, as you know, we've been talking about Amrit the last couple of episodes. And Nicole says, who do you have a crush on? Who do I not have a crush on? That's the real question. Okay, Amrit tells Nanny that he is gay, but there's no word in Hindi for gay. When I was in India, I wish I had asked, like, how do you guys handle that? Well, Amrit finally has a conversation with his nanny. As I said to you before, I thought his mom was going, backtrack. His mom. I loved that she owned to her husband that, why do I feel different about Amrit coming, Amrit's engagement? I love the fact that she was so self-aware that she felt so different about it and that she was trying to check herself. And I love that Amrit's father is so cool about it. He's like, it is what it is. This is 2021. Let's get it together. I love that about him. But I also love that Amrit's mom was very self-aware that she felt different, that she was treating the situation very differently than Amrit's brother when he got engaged and got married. And, how she was telling all the friends, how they had a party, and blah, 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 blah. I love that she had that self-awareness. But I also love how she defended Amrit when he told Nanny about him being gay. and how Nanny, she don't care about those reality TV cameras. I know she probably sees it there, but she's probably like, I don't like it. And I know a lot of people probably looked at Nanny and was like, really? She's of that, look, she is of that age and of that era. That's not like, no, that's not acceptable. This is what I believe. I'm not giving her a pass. What I'm saying is that I'm not surprised. And I'm glad that she owned the way that she felt in that moment. But what broke my heart and what made me cry when watching this was when Amrit came back, and Amrit was like, I understand and I accept that there will be a percentage of people that will not like this. There will be a percentage of people that won't support me every time I come out. And I felt sad for him. I felt very sad for him because he really felt as if his grandmother that loved him unconditionally before she knew this and treated him a certain way, before she knew any of this, is now doesn't feel that way about him. Thank you, Tracy, so much for the super chats. Tracy says, I'm new to your channel. 100 love it. OMG, I was crying during the whole Amrit portion. Parents are awesome and so real. So happy for them and their love. Me too. You know what I loved and I felt a little uncomfortable was when Amrit's mother was really sort of like, but we do that to our parents. You know how you treat your parents when you need to get a message across. So I didn't really look harshly at Amrit's mom when she was like, you understand what he's saying. You have to love and support him. Are you going to tell your friends about this? Are you going to tell other family members about this? Amrit's uncle was there as well. But at one point, Amrit's mom, Amrit's nanny says, if you're happy, I'm happy. And I think she was just caught off guard with the information. But I do think that she genuinely may not 100% support the situation, but she still loves Amrit and she doesn't want to see Amrit unhappy. So all we need now is the engagement between, I don't really know a lot about Nicholas. So I don't really have an attachment to Nicholas. We sort of see Nicholas there, but Nicholas, Amrit's boyfriend, he's sort of quiet, right? He doesn't have this big personality, which works, I'm sure. It doesn't work for TV, but I can't necessarily connect with Amrit in that way. But I connected with Amrit when I connected with Nicholas when Amrit described how Nicholas takes care of Amrit. I was like, oh, so Nicholas is a sweetheart. in my feelings. This episode, Family Karma, I know it's not filled with the drama that a lot of these other Bravo shows or other reality shows have, but I love that we're getting culture. I love that we're getting traditions. I love that we're getting true friendships. I love that we're getting coming out story on the last day of Pride. We're getting a coming out story. I'm sure it was timed just for that, but I love that we were able to get that. And I did not expect to be tearing up at the end of the episode. I really didn't. I knew he was going to come out, but I wasn't sure. I really was not sure what Nani was going to say. Nani's story is interesting too. Like, there's some really amazing women in this world that have such amazing stories, how they overcome, adversity, how they, just achieve and do so many amazing things that we don't even know about. Because their names aren't necessarily in the history books, but they do amazing things. And Nani is one of those people. And just because you don't do or create something huge that affects the world, what you do to individuals, to people in the world, how you treat people in the world, sometimes means the world to them and changes their experience. And Amrit has that. He recalls moments of love with her in India. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, as I said to you before, we will be dropping the link once we have over 100 likes, and we already have over 150 something people in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. We're doing a Family Karma and a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills mashup, recap, review, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to segue into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because I have a lot to say about it. So the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I don't even remember what episode this is. I don't remember. Either way, it doesn't matter. But a lot happened in this episode. And when I say a lot, I'm definitely not talking about Lisa Rinna or Dorit. I'm going to just get them out of the way. Let me get them out of the way because they have been just sailing along, getting away with not having storylines for way too long. And luckily for them, we have Kathy this season. We have two new housewives, Sutton and Crystal, who are having their own beef. So they're sort of just sliding by. But this episode really focuses on Lisa Rinna and her fake storyline of her daughter, Amelia, dating Scott Disick. Do I think the relationship with Scott and Amelia is real? I didn't even think about it until today. Because they're that much of a non-factor. I could care less about Scott Disick and who he's screwing. I could care less. But today I had the thought because I dropped by Up and Adam and we were recapping it. And I was like, oh, it is definitely them trying to, because you remember Amelia and her sister, yes, they did model. I'm not going to say they didn't do modeling and didn't make a name for themselves, but they didn't do what Gigi Hadid did. They didn't do what Bella did. That's what they were hoping. They didn't do what Kendall Jenner did. That's what they were hoping. So now they're thinking, oh, let's associate with the Kardashians and maybe we can elevate her career. Would it be the first time that Hollywood has done something like that? No, not at all. It happens all the time. With that being said, I could care less about that relationship. I could care less about Lisa Rinna using this as her storyline. That was her entire storyline. And apparently next week it's going to continue to be her storyline. And Harry Hamlin reacting to it. I don't care. But Garcelle was a guest on Watch What Happens Live. And she was asked about Denise Richards. And they've mentioned Denise Richards a couple of times since the new season started. And she was asked, you know what? Let me play the clip. Let me play the clip for you guys. Hold on one second. Let me just play the clip. Let me move it over here. But while I'm playing the clip, let's get to 100 likes. I'll drop the call-in link for you guys to call in and weigh in on Family Karma and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But let's play the clip. If I could find my little overlay. Hold on, y'all.
By the way, how quickly you and Kyle were able to get over everything that had happened last season. I mean, that was really grown, I thought. I loved that lunch that you had. Your explanation was good. She was clearly very affected by what you said, and she got it. And then you were both able to move on.
Yeah, that was the beauty of that lunch, is that the fact that she was open to receiving and hearing. And then once we got that, and I felt like she genuinely she didn't do it intentionally. She didn't understand the history.
Otherwise.
Exactly, but I thought that's why we were able to move quickly forward, because she got it.
Right.
Yeah,
Very good.
I loved it.
Are you in touch with Denise at all these days?
I am.
You are?
I am.
And
I think she wants to come back.
Oh, really? Really? Wow, let's talk after the show.
Somebody's got to go, though.
Oh.
Just saying.
Oh, that doesn't always work when someone says,
not.
if you take this one out, well, I'll come back.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
Are her initials LR?
Wait, let's play that again for you guys.
LR?
Wait.
When someone says, if you take this one out, well, I'll come back.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
Are her initials LR? You brought it up. I did. Yes.
Speaking of Amrit, Amrit was also at Amrit's such a cutie. Amrit is such a cutie. He was also a guest that night. I love that Garcelle brought that up and said I think she wants to come back. I think Garcelle would like to see Denise Richards come back. Either way, if I had to pick between Denise Richards and Lisa Rinna, and you already know how I feel about Lisa Rinna, Denise Richards didn't bring a lot to the show. Denise Richards, if I had to choose between Denise Richards, Lisa Rinna, or LVP, LVP all day. LVP all day. Lisa Rinna doesn't bring a lot. Denise Richards didn't bring a lot. She left. To me, she left like a scaredy cat. You could say that the women pushed her out. I do feel like the women pushed her out, but she could have showed up there. I mean, she still had a solid friendship with some of the women. Garcelle would have had her back. I don't know. I don't need Denise Richards to come back. And like Andy said, Andy's not even here for it. Andy's like, well, that's never really a good bargaining tool when you say one person has to go. That's not going to work, Denise. You don't have that kind of clout. They don't need you. Yes, she was very well paid by Bravo to be on the show, but they don't need you. I'm sure Andy was sort of like, this girl, she can't be serious, especially when they have a new season with Erika Girardi. They got Crystal Minkoff, who a lot of people are either hating or loving, but Bravo loves that. They love it when you hate or love someone because either way, you're going to hate or love watch. And Lisa Rinna, I give Lisa Rinna one more season. I can't with Lisa Rinna. Like, I wanted Lisa Rinna gone after last season because I was like, you are no one's friend. And I trust you as far as I can throw you. She is pretty skinny, though. Anyways. Speaking of Garcelle does not have a lot going on. Garcelle is dating. We find out Garcelle is dating 3 people at the same time, as she should. I couldn't do it. I can't keep up with all that. Remembering names, remembering what you told me yesterday. I can't. I have enough to remember when it comes to this show. How am I supposed to remember all the details of people I'm dating at the same time? So if you're dating me and you haven't heard from me, it's because I'm dating someone else. I'm joking. But the reason why I like Garcelle is because Garcelle adds a lot. She adds great commentary. She adds a really great mix to the group. I do need a little bit more from her. This episode, we do find out a little bit more about her son and what's been going on with him and how it relates to the group. I was like, all right, Garcelle. Garcelle doesn't bring a lot, but I'm giving Garcelle grace. It's still early in the season. This is her second season. Last season, we didn't get to see a lot of Garcelle, but she mixes very well with this group. Beverly Hills ladies are not easy to mix with. And that's why Crystal Minkoff works. Crystal Minkoff, as I said before, you're either going to hate or love her. And a lot of y'all are hating her now. It is what it is. We'll get to that in a second. But did you guys notice that Erika Girardi kept on mentioning her divorce in this episode? And then, of course, Erika Girardi has no self-awareness. She has no self-awareness. And the lifestyle that she was living seems to be a fraud because she talks so badly about Tom in this episode. Not to say that Tom is any saint. Tom Girardi is no saint. But she talked all about the reasons why the relationship was falling apart and how her relationship was very different than Kyle and Mauricio's relationship or Lisa and Harry Hamlin's relationship. Okay, but you lied to us then for the last how many seasons, like you guys had this really special relationship and that the reason why he didn't come to see you on Broadway is because he's so busy, but he was going to come and see you before it ended. We also found out that the private jets that the 2 private jets that they had, they were renting for like $1 million a year. I hear. That's a lot of money. But they're not the first rich couple to rent a private jet. That's very common. Because to own a private jet is very expensive. I think the only person I know that actually owns a private jet that I know. Well, I kind of know her, interviewed her. Oprah Winfrey. I know Beyonce gifted Jay-Z a private jet. Like a $40 million private jet or something like that. But that's Beyonce and Jay-Z. They're a $1 billion couple. Anyways, I'm digressing. How did the hell I get on Beyonce and Jay-Z? Oh, private jet, Erika Girardi talking about her divorce. Yes, elephant brain. We are almost at 100 likes. Let's get to 100 likes. We have over 200 people liking this video. I will drop the call-in link once we have over 100 likes. Yes, I said over 100 likes. Let me take a sip. So, Erika Girardi, she's not carrying the season for me. Do I like seeing what's happening in regards to her relationship? Not really. I'm not that entertained by Erika's storyline. I am going to keep watching because I want to see how this whole situation plays out. But she's setting it up. She's trying to create a narrative so that we feel better about what she's done and spending victims' money, allegedly. Maybe. Okay. Oh, thank you guys for the reminder. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Shan. Shan, what's going on? Shan said, I love when you digress. I do it a lot. Oh, wait, hold on. Shanti said in New York you can Uber a jet? Look, if I wasn't live on TikTok right now, I would check. I want to Uber a jet. Okay, let me drop the call-in link for you guys to call in and share your thoughts. Hold on, y'all. Doing multiple things. It's about to storm here in New York. But don't forget, I will be going live. I have some more RHOA conversation to have with you in regards to Cynthia Bailey, her future, Portia. We're going to go live. I think I said 7 o'clock. I don't remember what I put. I don't remember, y'all. Okay. P says private jets are not cheap. Staff, fuel, parking, maintenance, which is why some people took advantage of Epstein's offer. Some of those folks were, oh God, really, P, come on. I know it's hard for folks to believe that. No, it is expensive. It is very expensive. But you can rent one, pretty inexpensive. Probably not so much now because the pandemic is over. But, you know, it is what it is. But I'm not moved by Erika Girardi's storyline this season so far. I see what Erika is doing. I'm watching Erika with my good eye. I got 2 good eyes, though. Just saying. But with that being said, I want to take some callers. I want to hear what you guys think on this. But before we do that, shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to my mods. I see you guys holding it down. We have over 200-something people in the chat. Don't forget, we go live few times a week, but you're always getting daily and consistent hot topics here. I also have the podcast that I need to actually finish for tomorrow. And that's where you get an unfiltered and unedited version of some of your favorite hot topics and reality TV news. Okay? All right. Danielle is here. What's going on, Danielle?
Hey there.
How are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I am good. I have to say, last night was a good night of TV, reality TV. What was your thoughts? What are your thoughts? I'm not going to ask you any specific question because I'm sure you already had thoughts.
So I cried with Amrit and Nana.
Yeah.
At first, I didn't know how she was going to take it. I don't know if it was editing or if it's like it was obviously her genuine facial expressions. But it was like she was trying to process it, but wasn't processing it.
Yeah.
You know, she came out and said, I don't like it. I was like, okay, now I know how she feels. Like she But then I appreciated how his parents and his uncle, I guess they understood that she really wasn't getting it, or they wanted to make sure she understood it. So that it was almost like they kept trying to rehab the conversation of just to make sure she was comprehending. And she was like, I don't like it. Like so basically she was getting it and she's telling y'all, I don't like it.
She understood.
She understood. Yeah. Nana isn't stupid. Nana understood it. They might not have a Hindu word for gay, but Nana understood that her grandson is in love with a boy who loves him. And that's all that he cared about. But I appreciated how patient they were with her. Yeah. And they kept trying to it's okay that you don't like it, but you have to understand that this man treats your grandson good and he loves him. And I just, when she said, as long as you love him, I love, that's when I broke down. I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
And it's funny, you reminded me because I had a similar situation with one of my family members that said a very similar statement. And every time I think about that, it gets me emotional. So that's why I was triggered. Thanks, Nanny.
Aww.
Guys, I'm posting a poll because I thought I was interested to know if you had to choose between Denise Richards and Lisa Rinna, who would you choose? So I'm going to post the poll on the Kempire Daily YouTube chat. So vote there. What about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? I'm going to bring up It Depends.
So let's start with private jets, PJs. You know, you can own a private jet just like you own timeshare.
Oh.
Yeah. So they're like, you to Shantae's point earlier, you buy into one jet, but you have to sign up for it or schedule it and all this stuff. It's so many ways to get private jets nowadays. So when people say they have one, it's just like, everybody can get, like anybody can get a private jet nowadays.
But do they really own it? They
No,
don't really own it.
You don't own the whole jet itself.
you own a seat.
You own a part of it. So it's like a timeshare and you have designated, like it's a scheduled time. And I learned this way back on Run's house. When he was trying to get a private jet and he was explaining to his wife, he was like, no, it's like a timeshare where we have to sign up to say we need it for these days, but we pay into it like insurance every month. And you have to sign up to say when you need it. And depending on the package, I'm doing air quotations like you can see, depending on the package that you get will determine how much availability you have. So if you're a person who flies a lot, then you get like the high package. Because I researched all of this stuff. I actually downloaded the app and created an account. I forgot the name of it. Because it was like really cheap just to have a monthly subscription.
Oh, we'll have to talk offline about that. I might need to get me a private jet.
Yeah, get your PJ out here.
Miriam, thoughts on family karma? And because look, the episode had a lot of really beautiful moments, but it was really carried by Amrit's story.
Yeah, I was sobbing when he came back, and for me it wasn't the acceptance of his grandma that touched me as much as his eyes. Like the emotion was so raw. I feel like that was the realest moment we ever had on Bravo, period. Yeah. So for me, it was like, it's always like 50% joy and 50% disappointment. Like, it doesn't matter. Like how, we know so many people still trying to pass the bar exam. He is a full-blown lawyer.
Yeah.
So even that makes him feel like it's not good enough just because of his sexual orientation. I was sobbing. I went to sleep. I was sad, heartbroken.
Oh,
but
wow.
I was so happy that happened, because I feel like, especially in the Indian culture, I think that will be groundbreaking.
Oh, yeah, because he said within their community, this would be the first gay wedding.
Yes. Not only that, on TV, like I'm getting the chills just talking about it. I really am. This is like we're watching history.
I want to go to a gay wedding, a gay Indian wedding.
Me too.
Miriam. Hold your thoughts, because we're going to move on into the Real House of Beverly Hills. I just want to get some more thoughts in regards to family karma. Rasani, I'm going to bring you up. Rasani,
hey, Kempire. Hey, the family.
Hey, thoughts on family karma?
Family karma. I want to say that as far as like all the Bravo franchises, this was like the realest moment in reality TV. I can't say that I've ever seen any reality show where someone is actually coming out and you could actually like see how petrified Amrit is in his eyes and his body language. And I think for people who are on the fence as far as sexuality, it's eye-opening to see how that person feels, like, you know, an Amrit or a you or, you know, whoever is coming out to their family members, and it's like that fear of rejection and being shunned. And, you know, it's like, even when he said, you know, every time he comes out, it's like 50% the disappointment, and he really broke my heart. Nana, or I'll call her grandma. With grandma, even if she wasn't accepting of it, I wouldn't have been upset with her or wouldn't go, bashing her because, she's what, 80 something, 90 something, whatever her age is. She's coming from a different generation where, they don't even have a word for gay as far as we know in Indian culture. I wouldn't have been upset with her. I loved the honesty of his mother, and his father's like completely accepting. And I think that his mother, she thought that she was completely accepting until, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to propose. And it's like, wait, what? So you're for real? I don't know how I feel about that. And, that open and honest discussion with his parents in the car where it's like, it's okay as long as he's happy, and that's the most important thing. And she's trying to still where she thought she had come to terms with it and realized that she's not, and trying to come to terms with that. And, just trying to make the main focus, as long as Amrit is happy, as long as whoever he's with, male, female, they make him happy. That's the only thing that's important. And I feel like they're kind of like trying to hammer that in grandma's head, like, as long as he's happy. And, the uncle goes, yes, he's happy. And mom goes, he's happy. And dad goes, he's happy. And grandma's like, all right, then.
Everyone's happy.
I'm happy.
That was
sorry, Miriam.
That was so sweet.
It was. It gave me a different view from the other side.
Yeah.
Having to come out. And it really broke my heart. And I really felt like I could really feel that fear for Amrit. And it made me cry. It was beautiful. It was hands down, as far as reality world, hands down the best episode across the board, because it was so honest, so true, and giving you a true view of what it's like for people that are different.
Yeah.
Or consider themselves different.
Kirby Jersey, I'm going to bring you up. I want to hear your comments on Family Karma, if you have.
No comments on Family Karma. I'm sorry. I'm a Beverly Hills.
That's okay. We'll transition to Beverly Hills. What were your thoughts on this last night's episode of Beverly Hills?
I like to, I think it was a good episode, but Lisa Rinna, you were talking earlier about Lisa Rinna and everything. I just really do not like her.
Why do you not like her?
The reason I don't like Lisa is because of how she treated Denise last year, with the whole Brandyville situation. And she was a good friend to Denise. And Denise admitted that she was a friend of hers. Mm-hmm. And I will not sell my friendship over $30,000, $1, anything to try to put myself on a pedestal and put my friend under the gutter like that. And so I will be open to having Denise come back, but not on the expense of Lisa Rinna, because Lisa Rinna works for the producers. Like, she tries to drill information out of her coworkers to create a storyline when she herself doesn't have one. So she's like, to me, she reminds me of Giselle, to be honest with you. Like, no, she does, because in the sense that Giselle's the same way. She will peek or prick at someone else on the cast to deflect on what's going on in her life, to make her relevant. So that, to me, she works for the producers. Like, that's not your job, that's the producer's job. Or just let things flow naturally. And I feel like Lisa Rinna is like that. So I just don't think Lisa needs to someone needs to tell Lisa Rinna off. And Garcelle was going to do that initially in the beginning, but she kind of chilled out because I guess she felt like she's still the newbie in town. But someone needs to check Lisa Rinna. In regards to Crystal, I don't know why people have mixed feelings with Crystal, because I do like her. I like the energy that she's bringing to the show. Of course, the Asian perspective on the show and her culture, I enjoy that. Similarly to Tiffany Moon on Dallas. So I do like her perspective of coming on the show.
Yeah.
However, I do think that she was right in expressing herself and her truth, that she felt violated when Sutton went into her room. Now, looking at it, you may think, girl, we always have slumber parties. We always go in and out of people's rooms and everything like that. That is true, we do. But that's because I'm comfortable with you. But if I'm not comfortable with you, if I don't know you from Adam yet, and you just come into my room and you're like, oh, what are you doing? I don't even know what you're doing over there. Yeah, I will feel kind of violated. I will feel in my feelings and I will say what I said. And she had a right to say what she said at that table. So I was kind of surprised that Garcelle took Sutton's position versus being open to listening to Crystal's position. Yeah. And also was kind of confused as to why the others didn't understand Crystal's position. Because I thought
you know what I think it partially is? I think they don't understand the definition of violation. They don't understand the definition of violate. Yeah. And that's why Crystal was pointing out, this is what violate means. But I love that they flash back to when Crystal was talking about the incident to Dorit. And she did make it seem like it was very odd, very, very weird. Miriam?
I think they are all siding with Sutton because of the gifting. Did you notice how many times Erika said that Sutton is so generous? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they are all like and when they get a gift from Sutton, it means like it's in the thousands of dollars. And these ladies love a gift. So they will never turn their back on Sutton, at least not as of yet. Let's see if any will come to her defense against Erika when she flips on her in that scene that we all were previewed to. But just one thing about family karma. I was just saying in the comments, I would love to see Bali in The Real Housewives of Miami. She's a perfect fit. She's perfect.
Yeah. You never know. She's part of the Bravo family.
Hey, Bravo. Well,
but they already started filming Miami and she's not there.
Yeah, I hope they do that. But anyhow, I would love to have Denise come back to check Lisa on. I don't want Lisa not to be there, that to be a condition, because I would take Denise's husband any day.
Oh, God.
I would, because, he's weird and he's cute.
you just said the weird part, but you really mean the cute part.
No, I'm crushing too. I'm just a crushing ass, just like you.
Danielle,
on Crystal's trainer too.
Here you go, Danielle. What was your thoughts on the whole Sutton versus Crystal conversation?
Okay. Now last season I was totally team Sutton. This season I came in the gate team Crystal. But I do feel like Crystal was just doing a bit too much, especially when they did. I mean, I thought it, but I'm glad to see the producers gave the flashback of how Crystal told the story when she was telling it to Dorito. It was, and it could be just Crystal being a Karen in the moment. She was just trying to make everyone go in her favor in that moment. Because if you remember when she was telling the story originally, they were all sitting there like, oh, no, what? Yeah. And they're all around together. Sutton is really harmless, but Sutton will try to cut you off at the throat and throw that little Southern twang into it too when she does it. Just like how we're going to see next week when she talks about Crystal's leather pants. Like Sutton is petty. So there's that part. And
but did you see Crystal's response? Just a smile and then put her hands in her pocket. I was like, Crystal is one to watch.
Crystal lives in Wisteria Lane, and that's how she handled it when she came walking back with her hands in her pocket, just smiling. You better watch out because she's coming back, and you better pay attention. But it was one key piece that we talked about real quick, the family karma, that I wanted to bring back up, and that's Brian and his IT job. I think part of the reason why, like we all know that IT is lucrative, like point blank period. But I think that culture likes the fact that they can brag about the doctor title. That's the part that old school culture has to get out of, is the title of everything, because you can be a YouTuber and make just as much money and people don't get that part. So like the world is changing, but the old time, the old.
Wait, you hear that, Drew Sidora? Some of these YouTubers are making more money than she made last season on the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
And Latoya is one of those YouTubers. I told you, I followed Latoya from the beginning. Latoya bought house after house after house. Latoya was racking in the dough for a little while. But I feel bad for Brian and how he feels like he's not enough for Monica too, because of the whole title thing. And it's just it all really is just bragging. It's how, it shows all over in that culture, because again, when they were talking to Amrit's grandmother and the mother was like, are you going to go tell your friends that he's happy with this boy? And like, they were trying to hone in on when your friends ask you about, because we're going to have a big wedding. When they ask you, you better make sure you stand up proud and strong for your grandson, because don't let him come back and be like, oh, he's that, and try to shun him. But it's all about titles. It's so, it shows in so many different places in the culture.
Yeah. But segueing back to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Rasani, what was your thoughts on the whole Crystal versus Sutton situation? Rasani, are you there? You're muted.
Sorry.
Oh, there you go. No problem.
Okay. I know we discussed it last week, and I did forget to mention it last week because we're on the whole Erika Jane thing. However, with Chris, I think she's like, from last week, not necessarily this week, because, you know, she and Sutton, they decided and they backed off, and it wasn't, you know, it was Kyle and her sister being messy, reliving it. But last week when they were like, yeah, but when Sutton was like, yeah, but we decided that we're not going to talk about it, and it's done and it's over. And you see Dorit coming to ask Crystal and this and that and whatever. And she's like, yeah, she came in my room and I'm so violated. And oh my God. And, you know, yada, yada, yada. If you had decided at that point that you guys are done with it, you accept each other's apology, we're going to move on. For the simple fact that, you know, Dorit, Kyle, whoever came and asked you, you know, how are you and Sutton? We're all right. We made our apologies and we're good and we're moving forward. And it could have been done and dead right there. Yes, the terminology of violated is correct, but in today's society, violating, people just assume sexual.
Yeah.
And
I don't think so.
It is though. If I came and I said, oh, Kempire violated me, not to say, this is just, you know, alleged people, you know, we're not going to make it a thing. Your mind automatically goes to, oh, he molested you.
Yeah, but wait, but one thing, Rasani, you could say Kempire violated you, but that could have been, I would disrespected you by saying something. It doesn't necessarily mean I did anything like physically.
No. I'm not saying name to that. That's what I'm saying. Her terminology and the meaning of the word is correct, but in the tone, it seems people that's where people's brains go.
I don't think it's the tone. I think it's the context. First, let's say if really Crystal was telling everyone about Sutton, so she really had an audience that didn't stop her. That's for one. I would have a problem with that. Second, I think what they linked the word violated is for the fact that Crystal was changing and she was naked. So that's why their mind went there. But violation is a violation of privacy. How many times we get those disclaimers, like when you post, let's say, a music that doesn't belong to you, and they say it's violation of rights.
Okay, I hear you, Miriam, but here's this. Did you watch what happens after? And she's like, oh, violating is a strong term, and maybe I shouldn't have used that term. At that dinner, she wouldn't back down on it until she saw what social media probably said about her. She's like, oh, all right, yeah, violating was probably a strong term. You could have just said, you know, she came in the room and I felt weird because I was naked. I don't know her like that.
I don't think it's it's the audience. I think she backtracked on that because all the women were like ganging up on her, like all were like against her. So she felt herself alone, but she didn't retract the word, which I admire her for, because yes. And one thing, it's like if she's cool, if they were cool, then yes, we would have said it's a stretch. But when they had all that happening beforehand, and that heavy topic of like, do you see color or not?
Yeah.
So can't really put Sutton in the category that, oh, this is a girlfriend. No, this is a girlfriend that's coming at me every chance she gets.
And look, and let's not forget that Sutton. We like Sutton as a character on the show, but in real life, we probably would be like, Sutton, you're a weirdo.
Yeah. No, it's true. I just think that Sutton is socially awkward. And just to backtrack on something Miriam said, yeah, she never backed down from the word violating. As I said, she backed down from it when she came on Watch What Happens Live. So it makes me question it. Is it because of what she saw on social media that people are like, no, that's too strong a word. And she's like, oh, let me back down. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
okay, I want to read this comment. Data says, Crystal is Chinese. In their culture, you don't come over unannounced and you don't enter until you are received. Maybe that's where I'm getting it from. My grandmother was half Chinese. Okay, maybe that's where I got it from. Because I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Danielle, what's your reaction to the whole Crystal and Sutton situation? And
so, like I said last week, I felt like even when Sutton walked in the room, Crystal made it a big deal. And I hear with the viewer comment, I saw that, not that comment, but the one about the Chinese culture. Two of my good girlfriends are both Chinese. And I think to everyone's point, it's about the level of comfort. Because my girlfriends and I, we literally get undressed in front of each other and it's nothing. But again, I used to be an athlete. I used to play basketball. So we've been in environments where we had to change in small places and we had to do certain things. My Chinese girlfriends, and I have two that are very close to me, they don't care, but they're also comfortable in their skin. They haven't been violated. So I think when we first talked about this and we were like, we want to know more of Crystal's story, what happened, why did she feel that way? I think we need to hone in on that and maybe it was something there. Yes. But me personally, I was just like, oh my gosh, Crystal, like you're doing too much. But again, I don't know her story. It may be something that she did feel violated. I did think that was a strong word. And maybe she could just say I felt disrespected because I didn't tell you to come in and you came in my room and I wasn't dressed.
But that's the word she chose, and she wasn't incorrect with the word she chose. Is it our fault that we haven't updated our vocabulary?
But then also we have to remember that Crystal admittedly had body issues.
Yep.
And that stemmed from her childhood. So that often comparing her body to someone else's fuels the idea that in order for you to see me naked, you need to have permission. And so we have to keep that in context too when we talk about Crystal's perspective. I thought the word was correct. You violated my space or invaded my privacy, whatever, but violation is what it was.
And also I think the last part, and although I think Sutton said this just because she felt awkward, was when Sutton was coming out of the room. Oh, what are you doing over there? Yeah. I think she said that out of nervousness instead of just saying, oh, I'm so sorry. I think if she just said, oh, I'm so sorry, I think this wouldn't even be an issue.
Yeah. No, I agree with you with that, Kempire. I think it was, like I'm a type of person where when I'm in uncomfortable situations, I tend to smile or laugh like, God forbid someone came and said to me, oh, my mom died, and I'll have a smile on my face, but it's not that I'm being disrespectful to you or your emotions. It's just like, I want to make you feel better. I don't know how, and I'm uncomfortable. So I'll have that uncomfortable nervousness about me. And I think that's the thing with Sutton is clearly, obviously, very socially awkward. More than the norm.
I thought she was joking. When she said, what are you doing? I thought she was joking.
I did too.
Okay, so what she did.
Wait, Danielle, what could she be joking about?
Well, okay, so the jokester side of me took it as though she was saying, like, I done caught you in here maybe slapping, tickling yourself.
Oh my God, that's even worse.
That's even worse.
Okay. Don't shame me for pleasuring myself.
So yes, it would be worse if I caught you doing it, but that's the joke that I thought that Sutton was trying to deliver. That's what came to my mind.
But they're not cool like that. And if someone that I'm not cool like that with comes in my room and insinuates that I'm doing something that might be inappropriate, I'm gonna be pissed too.
So let's take a step.
There's nothing inappropriate with pleasuring yourself.
I know that, but
let's take it a step back. Let's take it a step back. Remember, Sutton went to the room trying to wave a white flag.
Oh.
So her trying to joke about something is still her trying to make peace of everything that had gone on between them earlier that night.
Sidebar: Sutton had a few really great jokes and jabs during this episode that I was like, this is why Sutton needs a diamond.
Listen, I will Sutton as a character, but the thing is, she'd left her manners somewhere when she went to deliver the coat, because she wouldn't have accepted Crystal with open arms, given their very recent history of tense interaction, getting inside her room without waiting for her to say, yes, come in, and then making that joke. They are not that cool. So for me, the context that the women are applying is not the context that made Crystal feel that way. They are not cool. She has been having a hard time. She didn't have dinner with them, for God's sake, because of Sutton. So all of a sudden, Sutton now wants to go and take no, that was the next day. I think I mixed it. But
that was the next day.
Yeah, Lucas says this. Well, Crystal has no storyline, so she's pushing this nonsense. Sutton is living her life, new house, car, having fun. Lewis also says she knocked though. Look, I already said, even if you knock, you wait to be invited into someone's room, especially someone that you're not that friendly with. But I want to move on.
Can I say something?
I want to move on.
Go ahead.
We're over an hour, so I want to move on to Erika Girardi and that whole situation and how Erika is bringing up her divorce and her past with Tom Girardi. Curvy, what were your thoughts on that situation? But before you share your thoughts, Dana, thank you so much for the super chat. Dana says they're not girlfriends, they're co-workers. What if Sutton were a man? I think people are saying it's not a big deal because they're both women. Good point.
I agree with that.
Okay, so with this Erika situation, it didn't help me that I watched The Hustler and that documentary, right? Because I have a different way of looking at Erika than I did before. And I felt like this episode was trying to paint Tom in a different light. Like he's a mean guy. He always did this. He always did that. But it's like, okay, but if he was always this way, why didn't the camera show us this before? Like, usually, like Maya Angelou says, usually if something big happens, you usually see some little inklets of
But we barely saw Tom on the show, though.
But that's my point. Like, okay, but she never talked negatively about Tom prior to
Erika Jane. She's the ice queen. You're not. She's also a
right.
You're never going to see her sweat. You're never going to see. If her relationship was terrible, we would have never known it. Apparently, it seems. So
to me, I feel like that Bravo is trying to, or Erika is trying to, and it could be the truth, but I'm just saying that I feel Erika is trying to paint a certain narrative that, I'm the victim, which in fact you're not. Like someone put on Twitter, like, did you guys notice her shirt? It says make money over friends or something like that she wore during that episode. And it's like she's doing a what's her name? What's Trump's wife's name? Melania. When she went to the border and said, I don't care, I'll jacket on. Like she's not being sensitive to the victims in her situation. The other thing that happened during this episode, just chiming off of what you just said, Curvy, is that when they were talking about dating, one of the things that she said is her requirement is that she needs to see the financials. And I was like, no, this gold digger didn't. Well, that's what she was doing back when she was stripping in Jersey. I mean, that's what it was. That's Tom knew what he was getting into. He knew. And I just feel like the girls, another thing too, is the girls are rallying in support of Erika as they should, because that's their friend. But I just need you to have the same energy that you gave Denise last year. Okay? Give her the same energy, because Denise, all she did was had a threesome. Okay? This guy right here took monies out of people's pockets. That young man that got burnt, that hit me. Imagine you're in your house and all of a sudden your house is on fire And he could have really lost the love of his life, and he is always affected. And then you're over here buying champagne and all that with the victim's money. Come on now, Erika, you need to get it together. And I just feel like the whole squad over there needs to put her to the task. Like, girl, you knew.
Rasani, what was your reaction to Erika Girardi in this episode?
Lies.com. Lies.com, Erika, and shame on you. Okay, from the documentary, we know that there was never a prenup. I don't know if I recall that from the seasons prior. She did say she did or did not have a prenup. For the mere fact that he didn't have a prenup, and he was just like this horrible little old man and treated you so, but you could have divorced him a long time ago. You're in California, gotten half, and moved on and carried on your merry little way, and probably have like half of the jet, and he has the big jet, you have the little jet, and we're all good and dandy. To be fair, as far as the woman rallying around Erika, I'm just basing it on, the timeline, because, this was probably filmed like six months to a year ago, or whatever the case may be. So they're just basing it on the information they don't know that we're seeing on screen. Up until now on screen, all it is they're getting a divorce. They don't know about the lawsuits that we know of. And, the victims and, the hustler and the housewife, they're not caught up. We're not seeing what's happening in present day. So to be fair, I'm going to give them grace and go, okay, you're rallying behind your girl now because you don't know. Let's see what comes after that, if you're going to still be rallying behind her.
Didn't we see a preview where they mention the orphans and things like that later in the season?
That's later on in the season. We saw that in the trailer. So that's what I'm saying. I'm giving them grace now and seeing.
this week.
And even when she, in the trailer for the season, I think she and Garcelle went on a hike. And Garcelle's like, so you didn't know anything? And she's like, no, I didn't. And Garcelle was looking at her like, girl, you are the sniper from the side. I see you. No, that's a look that she gave her.
Emily Matos asked the question, do you think Erika got a plea deal since she's now testifying against Tom? I don't know. I think if there was a plea deal, we probably would know. But I think she sees the writing on the wall.
Well, this is what happened. Like it's obvious lies. She's lying. She's drawing a narrative. She's deflecting from the real issue. But I can't give grace to these women. I just cannot, because the rumors and the blogs were already talking about it. The day, even before, there were reports that about the private jets, about that he wasn't paying other people money, like the victims. It was already there. And the way these women dig into each other's closets, literally, like I do not believe for a second they didn't know. They are just in for the plot. We were going to deflect because chances are Erika knows about them, the things that they don't want to talk about. And that was the pact that was going on since they were against Denise. It's just carrying through.
Oh, wow. A pact. All right, ladies, I want to round out this conversation because we will be going live in probably about an hour and 20 minutes to talk about some Real Housewives of Atlanta news and some more drama. I'm going to start with Danielle. Just last minute thoughts. It could be about family karma. It could be about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, or both.
Can we just touch base on Kathy again? Our famous Kathy.
Yes.
So last night, when Kathy called Dorito the English one, Dorito tried to act like she had an attitude.
No, she said my English friend.
Regardless. I don't care. This is how much I don't care. Irregardless of what that's how much I don't care. Irregardless of what she said. She called her English, and Dorito tried to act like she had an attitude about it. It was like, I'm not English, my husband is. But yet you walk around with this fake English accent. But I love how the other lady's like, she's from Connecticut. Like, they called her out on. Dorito is born and raised in Connecticut. She's not British, she's not Welsh, she's not English. I need Dorito to stop with the faking. I need Dorito to stop with all the labels. She is a label whore. Yeah. And that's why they always broke and filing bankruptcy. And to piggyback on what everyone else was saying earlier, I do think that the women knew something just because we might not have known at a nationwide level. Local news and word of mouth spreads fast. And I'm sure in that little area of Beverly Hills, something was going down because remember they closed down the law firm and everything. So word of mouth travels fast. So I think those ladies knew something. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a behind the scene thing. Well, Erika, what do you want us to say? Because we all know they're scared of the Ice Queen. And as far as Denise, I loved the idea of Denise coming to the show because I used to watch Denise's reality show with her and her dad and the kids that she used to have over in Calabasas. I thought it was cute. But Denise on Housewives, she didn't give us much. Yes, she gave us a cute husband, but it wasn't enough for to bring her back. Like she was boring. She didn't give us what she gave on her own show. Like at least we had more on her own show. She just, I don't know if she was scared. Then she was always running off to do a Lifetime movie in Canada. So she was kind of pulling a Garcelle because she's so busy in Hollywood. But yeah. And as far as Karma, I think last night was just really a good episode. And I'm so happy for Amrit. And I can't wait to be invited to the big ending and gay wedding.
Who said you're invited?
I said it.
Danielle, thank you so much for calling in.
See you guys.
Last minute thoughts, Miriam?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if a picture surfaces of Dorit and the twins from 90 Day Fiance because they're all from Connecticut.
Oh, Lord.
Can you imagine? That would be great. I feel like it's obvious that the women are plotting just because of the difference of the reaction of what might have happened between Denise and Brandy and what's the alleged crime here. So for their reaction towards that was way bigger than this. And when we come to compare the crimes, one is a crime, the other one isn't, you know? So that's that. I think Bravo, like the diversity and inclusion movement, saved Bravo from losing a gem. I am so excited for Family Karma. It is what truly a sitcom is. There's always a problem, a resolution, and a lesson to be learned. And I can't wait for all of us to have a watch party for their wedding. That would
Here you go. I don't know if we're going to get it this season, though.
And today is a national holiday in the Kempire Nation. I will see Kempire talk live 3 times. I already saw you in the morning. And the third is the charm.
I know you're going to have a lot to say about what's coming up.
Yes, I will put some hair care.
Please do.
I have to fix. I will curl a little bit my edges here.
Yeah, not the edges. Miriam,
the edge of my hair.
Miriam, I'll see you in a sec. Last minute thoughts for Sadi?
Family Karma. If I was on the Emmy board, that episode deserved an Emmy. I'm not saying that it's acting or anything like that, just the realness of it. Beverly Hills, you know what I would really, really love to have had happen on Beverly Hills? I would have really loved for LVP to be on Beverly Hills this season because she would be giving it to Erika. And, she's a stir master in the background already. If it was a choice between, so say Garcelle came on Watch What Happens Live and said, LVP would come back, but you'd have to get rid of someone. Bravo would be getting rid of that someone for LVP.
Maybe. I don't know. Because the person that she would want to get rid of would be Kyle. And the reason why we have Kathy is because, it's because of Kyle. So
no, I think she would. I think she'd be more lenient to work to resolve with Kyle if Rena isn't on there. Okay. And because everybody thinks that Kathy's goal and everybody wants to be up, being Kathy's good graces. So it's like, get rid of Rena and I'll come back, because really and truly, Rena was the one that was spearheading all of that that season. Like kept pushing and rallying up everyone else. But I would really have loved to see an LVP on there, because I think that she and her British humor would have kept it quite real with Miss Erika Jane. And I'm interested to see how it plays out. And yes, I agree with Miriam and everyone else that the word of mouth was around the street. So I'm interested to see how they're going to rally or not rally behind Miss Erika Jane.
Yes. Rasani, thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks for having me. See you soon.
Curvy Jersey, last minute thoughts?
Okay. I think Hollywood has a tendency to romanticize older men, younger women dynamics too much. Case in point with Tigger and Kylie Jenner, when they first started dating, you know, Kanye West, I heard him himself say on the radio, you know, Tigger got into it early, quote unquote. I just feel like that type of thinking and perspective could be weird and dangerous. So for Amelia to date Scott, who has 3 children, who also has a history of dating younger women, i.e. Lionel Richie's daughter, I just think it's just creepy all around. And I just hope that she gets out before anything else happens to her. Kathy, I don't understand how she can be an OG and she's only been on 5 episodes. Like every time she is on screen, she steals it, whether it's her one-liners or her jokes or just her presence. I think she was well needed to help this cast because she brings that type of fun energy as well as the light shade and that old good money. So I like Kathy on the show, and I think Dorit needs to step it up.
Curvy, I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much.
Take care. See you soon.
Bye. All right, y'all. We're going to round it up because we're going live in just about an hour. You know I got to eat because I'm going to lose my mind if I don't eat. We got some more Real Housewives of Atlanta news for you. People not coming back. Anyways, we're going to talk all about it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, we have over 200 some people watching. Like this video. If you're watching the replay of this, let me know your thoughts on the latest episode of Family Karma and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Look, I'm enjoying Beverly Hills despite Lisa Rinna and Dorito, as Danielle likes to call her, is not bringing much. Everyone else is bringing something. I'm enjoying Crystal as a new housewife. I'm enjoying Sutton as a full-time housewife. I'm enjoying their little drama that's going to continue. I'm watching, and I hope that you continue watching and being here for our live replay or our live review and recap of the episodes. As always, don't forget to like this video if you're not subscribe because you're getting daily and consistent hot topics in music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. And this is one of the mores. Thank you to my mods. Thank you to everyone that sent in a super chat. Thank you to everyone that called in. And thank you to everyone being a part of the conversation in the chat. Have a fantastic evening. I will see you guys in about a little bit over an hour and 10 minutes. All right. I'll see you guys a little bit later on.